Good morning, everyone, and welcome to In the Kitchen at Go Native Farms. I am Eric, a registered and licensed dietitian. I'm also a renal dietitian. So I'm going to be showing my patients how to make a high-protein coffee today, and we're also going to be using a coffee alternative just in case you don't drink coffee for whatever reason. So this is going to go out to the entire world. So if you're a renal patient, follow up with your own clinic dietitian just to make sure they want you to have this, because not everybody has the exact same needs on dialysis. So with no further ado, let's get into this. Today we're going to be making a high protein coffee, which you can do with regular coffee or you can do an herbal coffee. So let's look at the ingredients. The first thing first, you're going to need a high protein powder, and this is the one that I'm going to be using today. It is basically just a plain whey protein. This one's organic and grass-fed. Now you can use other protein powders as well. I have one back here which would also work as well. This is a plant-based, and this one's derived from dairy products. So that's the first thing we got to look at, is the protein. The second thing is coffee. So you can use your standard coffee, whatever you like, and you're going to brew up about 8 ounces of coffee, and that's what we're going to be working with. If you don't like coffee or you can't have it for religious reasons or medical reasons, there are coffee alternatives. And this is a really good brand by Ticino, and I drink them all the time. And we're going to be using their French roast today, but there's also a lot of other products they make, and you can check out some of their other products as well. And good stuff. I really like it. And let's go ahead and show that a little closer to the camera. And really good if you don't drink coffee. Some people can't have coffee for medical reasons, and check with your doctor if you've ever had problems with high blood pressure or heart problems or anything and you're drinking coffee. And then we're going to have some type of a sweetener. So some people use honey, and then some people use a non-calorie sweetener. This one here is a monk fruit extract, and this one's really sweet. There's a lot of different varieties of no-calorie sweeteners, and let me just show you a couple others. This is another one that I did find right there at Walmart, and they don't all taste the same, so you're going to have to try a couple different brands. Next thing we're going to have on the list here is a cacao powder. And let's go ahead and lift that up, and this is basically chocolate is what we're looking at. Now you can have chocolate in small amounts, and we're only having a small amount in here because we're going to do a chocolate coffee and we're going to do a vanilla coffee. So next thing we have is we have some coconut oil, because sometimes I'll put a little bit of coconut oil in my coffee as well, and or another healthy oil, which you could use omega-3 fatty acids, and you could put a flaxseed, or you could do a fish oil that doesn't have a very fishy flavor, and the Nordic brand does not have a very fishy flavor, and you can kind of play with that a little bit to see how you like it. And then of course we have a little bit of vanilla here. All right, so those are the ingredients, and basically let's jump into this and start making some really good coffee or coffee alternative. You're also going to need a blender, and this is a pretty decent blender right here, and it's a mug and a blender all in one, and then you basically just turn it on back here, if it works. Hopefully it works. I think I have to have it a little tighter. Now it's running. You gotta have the lid down nice and tight. So that's what the inside looks like, and then there's a blender part as well, and these work really good. You're just gonna need some kind of a blender. So let's get started. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna grab some of the coffee or coffee alternative, and we're gonna bring that up close so you can see that, and we're just gonna dump that in and hope I don't make a mess. And I did not make a mess. And then the next thing we're gonna do is grab 2 scoops of this protein powder right there. And this is, we'll go over the numbers on potassium and phosphorus and calcium a little bit later, maybe towards the end. Also, I forgot to mention, please do like and subscribe. That way I can make more of these videos. And we got the protein powder going in. We're gonna do 1, and we're gonna do 2, which is giving us 21 grams of protein right there. And that is how we start. Then the next thing we're gonna do, we already have the coffee, we already have the protein, and then we can try either type of sweetener you want. So I think for today, I am gonna give this monk fruit one a try. And the amount you need with this monk fruit, it really does depend. It varies from your taste. You're kind of gonna have to play with it a little bit, but I would start with probably like an eighth of a teaspoon, and that's all I'm putting in there. It's just a real small amount that I pulled out, and we're gonna see how that works. And they're not all the same. Some you're gonna need a full teaspoon. This is a concentrated one right here, so you're probably only going to need about an eighth of a teaspoon of that. And then we're gonna get our cacao. Now with cacao, this is chocolate, and we're only gonna be using 1 teaspoon. So in there, we're gonna get a nice rounded teaspoon. Well, it can be flat or rounded. And then you're gonna dump that in. I did make a little bit of a mess with that cacao right there. We'll clean that up and pretend like it never happened. And then we're gonna go to the next ingredient. We're gonna put in a little bit of this coconut oil we're gonna try today. And the coconut oil, it does add a nice flavor as well. I have about a teaspoon or 2 I'm gonna be putting in there. Adds a good flavor, and it is a good healthy oil as well. So we're gonna put that in. We're gonna put this coconut oil back, and sometimes I'll just use those omega-3s as well. And now we're pretty much good to go. We have everything in there. We need the top. We're gonna put the top on. We're gonna tighten this down nice and tight, and we're gonna hope it works. Oh, it kind of worked. Okay, there we go. Now we're blending that up. Keep your hand on the bottom and let that go for about 10 to 20 seconds. So that should be done right now. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna open that up. I'll let you take a look in there. Kind of see what's going on. That's nice and frothy. Looks really good. We're gonna dump that right into here. And check that out. And I'm gonna put a little bit in this glass here as well. And we're gonna kind of see how that separates in a minute. We're gonna put that down, and let me give this a try, and let me tell you what I think. That's really good. Really good. I think you guys can see that. Has a nice froth on the top there. It's kind of a mild sweetness, which I like. If you wanted a little more sweet, I gotta taste that again. That is really good. If you want a little more sweet, you could add a little bit more on the monk fruit extract. The way we just made this, there's doesn't have much sugar in there. Pretty much no sugars in there now because we didn't add any honey to that. So let's take a look at this. Can you see how that's starting to look really nice? Starting to separate a little bit. You got that froth on the top. Almost looks like it was made by a professional barista. Okay, so that is the chocolate one, and it tastes really good, and I'm liking it a lot, and I really am digging that. So I think you guys are gonna like that. Now we're gonna do the plain one with just the vanilla. So let's get into it, and we're basically gonna repeat that process. I'm gonna just dump out all of my shake so I don't have any remainder in there. Then we're gonna go ahead and come back over here, and we're gonna try one more time to not make a mess, and we didn't. Starting again. Got the coffee in there. I'm gonna do the same protein powder again. And I'm gonna do just 1 scoop, but normally you should do 2. But I don't think I need all that protein this morning, so I'm just gonna do 1 because I have to drink all this stuff after I'm done making the video. So we got that, we got the protein in. Next thing we're gonna be looking at is the vanilla. Let's put a little bit of vanilla in there. All right, so this one, and vanilla is to taste also. And then we're gonna do a little bit of the sweetener as well. And this is pretty easy to do, pretty easy to make. We're just gonna get a little bit more of that sweetener, and I'm using about that much. Like I said, go ahead and see how much you like. Start with maybe an 1/8 of a teaspoon, and then you can move up and down to see how you like the sweetness. Okay, and we can also put a little bit of that coconut in there as well, because coconut makes it taste really good. You're gonna taste that coconut flavor in there also. So we're gonna put a little of that coconut oil in there, and then hopefully get it off my fingers. And we're gonna go ahead and put this back, and we're gonna start that up. If you didn't like chocolate, I don't know who doesn't like chocolate, but this one's gonna be a French vanilla. The other one was French chocolate. And we're gonna go ahead and hit that button and then put our hand on the bottom. You wanna hold that tight. Doesn't take very long at all. Flip that back over, and let's see. Now, one time I bought one of these, and the hot pressure in there popped the bottom open, and my coffee went all over the place. So that's why I'm saying to hold your hand on there when you're doing it. So here we go. We've got one more coffee coming up. Oh, this one looks good and smells good. Check that out. All right, I'm gonna put that down for 1 second, and check that out from that other coffee. Isn't that looking good? Separating nicely. Got that froth on the top. We're gonna give this one a try right here. That is really good. I think you guys are gonna like this. It's a high protein coffee. I really like that. I think you guys are gonna like this. A lot of my patients will tell me sometimes that they don't have time to make a breakfast, and we prefer that you have breakfast, but it'd be a really good idea if you aren't gonna eat breakfast, and make one of these high protein coffees, and then maybe you could grab yourself an apple and you could head out the door with that, or maybe some hard-boiled eggs, because we're always wanting to work on that albumin. And that's pretty much it for today. Now, I do want you to stay tuned. I'm gonna do a pumpkin spice high protein as well coming up in a little bit, and I think you're gonna like that. Also, if you're on binders, whether it be phosphorus binder or potassium binder, you always wanna take your binders as the doctor ordered. So let's look at the numbers real quick, because I did put together some numbers, because it does have phosphorus and it has calcium and all that stuff. So let's take a look at it. And we're gonna look at what the numbers were on the chocolate one, because the chocolate one is gonna be a little bit higher. But basically, when we're using this whey protein right there, we have the 21 grams of protein. That's gonna give us about 130 milligrams of potassium, and then it's going to give us about 115 milligrams of phosphorus, and it's gonna give us 117 milligrams of the calcium as well. Now, when you're using coffee, coffee does have potassium. It has about 128 milligrams per 8 ounces of brewed coffee. So you want to keep that in mind. And when we made this total drink, this is the chocolate one right here. So we had the 130 milligrams from the protein. We had 128 milligrams of, and we're talking about potassium right now. So it was 130 milligrams of potassium from the protein, 128 milligrams from the coffee, and then we had 33 milligrams from that 1 teaspoon of the cacao powder there. With those, we're looking at about 291 milligrams of potassium total on this chocolate coffee, and the vanilla one would be less. And then also, let's look at the phosphorus real quick. The protein powder had 115 milligrams of phosphorus, and then the coffee aspect had about 7 milligrams of phosphorus, and then the cacao powder had about 13 milligrams of phosphorus, and those were your numbers. So the total was about 135 milligrams for the chocolate high protein coffee that we put together. And I think that's pretty much it for today. please do like and subscribe. Stay tuned because I have some more high protein coffees coming up, like the pumpkin spice, and we're going to do a few others. And then I have some high protein breakfasts as well. So thank you very much for tuning in, and have a great rest of the day.